definitions of harassment, some personal stories of some people that I know who have dealt with it, along with some cases that I'm sure you're all very familiar with within Hollywood stories today. Is this timer going? I'm really not sure.
The top left picture moves the timer.
Okay. Is it going? Sorry, it's just... Are you sure it's going?
I think there's a long 20 seconds.
Right? That's what I'm saying.
Is that one on mouse click?
I had to pause it.
Maybe that's
Wait, come.
The whole presentation can be set.
Yeah, but I messed it up, so.
Good job, guys.
I'll own that one. It's not so paperwork, you guys, which I do know to do.
You can go to my second now, if possible.
You would have done.
Okay, so just a basic definition of harassment is the belittling or threatening of an individual person or a group of people. This could mean physical assault, it could mean wearing something inappropriate. I would show you more examples, but I have to keep this somewhat PG-13. But don't wear marijuana leaves to work, that could be offensive. It could also mean bad words that you're using. If you're calling your coworkers ugly every day, kind of offensive. It doesn't always have to mean insults. It could also mean complimenting someone in an inappropriate way or at an inappropriate time. And it's overall just making someone feel really uncomfortable within the workplace. Okay, well, I finished early. So just a quick story of someone that I know. A friend of mine worked in retail, and she was kind of like a paid internship type of thing. And her boss would actually summon her by like chucking pens and pencils out of the office all the time, including staplers. She actually chucked a cup of coffee once without realizing there was coffee still in it. Would never remember her name. She'd call her Susie all the time for some reason, don't know why. That's a form of harassment. So I would tell her to say something, and she felt that she wouldn't have a voice because she was an intern and that she shouldn't say anything. She ended up quitting, and now feels that she should have said something at the time because it's a form of harassment and should have been reprimanded for. When I think of harassment, I think of sexual harassment because I don't want to say it's the most popular, but unfortunately it's the most popular. Within that, there is two different types. There is quid pro quo, which I can never pronounce, which is Latin for something for something or this for that. And there is hostile work environment, which is, again, just making anyone feel uncomfortable within the workplace. Another story with that, because I have a lot of those, is another friend of mine would always wear skirts to work. And whenever she would wear pants, she wasn't really acknowledged as much, but for some reason, whenever she wore skirts or something a little bit more form-fitting, her boss would always say, who's a male, would always say, you should wear that skirt more often and just make compliments. And she didn't want to overthink it because her mindset was, if there was a woman saying this to me, I would take it as a compliment. I'd be like, girl, go to Express, it's half off. I would say thank you. So she didn't want to overthink it, and I told her that if she really feels that uncomfortable, she should say something. She ended up doing that, and it turns out that this wasn't the first time this happened. The situation got way worse, and he was reprimanded for it. So I think the moral of those stories is if you feel uncomfortable within the workplace, you should say something. It's always better to be safe than sorry, and you never know who else might be feeling that way as well, especially within workplace environments. Yeah.
I'm going to ask you a question.
Okay.
You can split the skip. So
Okay.
is the statement that you should wear that skirt more often different from the statement that that skirt looks nice?
Yeah, I would say, I think the first one is maybe a little bit more offensive because it's telling you what you should wear. But like I said, the situation got worse, otherwise I think it would have been let go. But it's just the fact that she felt uncomfortable, and I feel like if you feel uncomfortable, there's always someone to talk to, there's always a supervisor to go to. Even if it is a compliment, not meant to be offensive. So, a bunch of those slides were about Harvey Weinstein, which I don't really usually go about because I'm sure you've all heard about it. These were some of the first people who spoke against his accusations. It was written in the New York Times October 5th when it first came out. Those women, who I couldn't pronounce anyway, were the first people who said accusations of it, and it gave courage to people that I can pronounce. Cara Delevingne, Gwyneth Paltrow, and Angelina Jolie were just more of the women that took the first women who said something and said, hey, me too. That happened to me also. There's been a lot of controversy that I've been hearing with this because people see pictures like this and they say, you know, why now? I see you cozy with this guy and now you're accusing him of doing these things all those years ago, and why didn't you say something when it happened? Why didn't you say something then? I think there's been a lot of controversy with that, and I And I feel that when it comes to authority figures, these women were young, and any authority figure in general, let alone such a Hollywood superstar and producer, it's hard to speak out against someone like that. They don't want to have a bad reputation, they don't want to ruin their career, and that's what he was threatening to do. So it's kind of understandable that people are coming out about it now, because there's a lot of people that are saying, hey, that happened to me too, and I want to help the cause. This woman explains it a lot better than I would. She basically says, I think that when people perpetrate against you, you are the one that feels ashamed. You think that it's just you. So a lot of times when this happens, you feel that if you were to say something, you were to blame. There's a lot of slut shaming within our generation, and a lot of people feel that it's their fault, that they were dressed inappropriately, things like that. So with this case, after women were the first to come out about this, there is now 83 women who have accused this man of similar accusations, including 3 rape accusations, masturbating, exposing himself, amongst other things. What happened with this, just to follow up with this case, is that he was fired from his own company. He founded Miramax with his brother. He was expelled from the Academy of Motion Pictures, as well as Arts and Sciences, as well as just the public just knowing about everything that he is and everything that he's been doing, which I kind of think his punishment is enough. Since then, it's been a ripple effect of people throughout Hollywood, celebrities, non-celebrities, such as the man Danny Masterson. I've never seen the Netflix show The Ranch, but he's on that. He was accused of raping 4 women and was fired from the show. Louis C.K., Matt Lauer, who were all fired from the situation for similar accusations.
Can you pause that, please?
Yep.
The sign that you're doing really well is you've got me super. It just should not slide. I didn't even look at that. Slut shaming. What is that thing?
Slut shaming. So within our generation, it's very unfortunate. This is just messing with me. It's very unfortunate that basically women are often accused of doing this to themselves. For example, if I were to be walking somewhere in New Brunswick, there was the whole Rutgers case where, because I'm from there, there was a girl walking home late at night and she was dressed kind of provocatively, and she was actually raped, and there was a whole situation where people were saying, well, you were dressed like that, what else could you expect? If you're dressed a certain way, this is what's going to happen. And kind of slut-shaming her that because, she was dressed provocatively, that it's perfectly fine that a man were to do whatever he wants with her body. So that's what an example of what slut-shaming is. Pretty much just pointing your finger at the woman and saying, well, you shouldn't be walking late at night, you shouldn't be acting that way, you shouldn't be sleeping with many men, and blaming the woman instead of the perpetrator.
When you said, thank you. When you said punishment enough, I think you didn't mean that.
No, but just as an example of another way that he is being punished, this man went from scaring women and employees in general, saying that he's the top dog. Now everyone knows what he is. He's fired. He's never going to get a job again.
That's a lot of punishment, but I think he should be in jail. I'm
No,
not sure
yeah.
that just
No,
because people know
yeah.
is how punishment is.
He should be, and it's an ongoing case. So there's that too. So just to throw in here another point, which now I don't know how to fix this. So I guess I'm just going to fix the arrow. Is that women can harass men too. Women could harass women, men could harass men. It's not just subjective to one stereotype, one gender, and anyone could harass anyone, pretty much. It's just making someone feel uncomfortable. It's violating them in any way. So it's not just subjective to a man versus a woman or vice versa. In conclusion, harassment of all kinds I feel should be taken very seriously. And I think that you should always treat the first accusers the same way you would the 20th. It shouldn't take 83 women for them to say, wow, this shouldn't happen, or wow, we should take this more seriously. The first person who says, I feel this way, should be respected with the same amount of respect as the 20th woman, the 83rd woman, to say something. That being said, I'm going to hand this over to Jerome Miles. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Jerome, if you guys don't know me. And I'll be discussing with you guys about basically ethical dilemmas and certain issues within the workplace and how those issues can get resolved. So what is an ethical dilemma? An ethical dilemma is basically when an individual or a person has their own moral beliefs about, a situation in which causes them to act in a certain way. So a dilemma arises when, there's conflict between individuals' opinions, and sometimes these situations could be very controversial. So abortion is pretty much a general example of an ethical dilemma, and basically, it could be very controversial in a sense where some people think that abortion is ethical because you know basically what's the point of bringing a child out there in the world if you can't provide for it? And some people feel like it's unethical because it's wrong to actually take the life away from a child. But the way ethical dilemmas work in the workplace is a little bit different. A workplace is pretty much the breeding grounds to all ethical dilemmas and issues. So basically, usually it comes from different employees who have different socioeconomic backgrounds. So an example of an ethical dilemma is a lot of employees, they spend a lot of time at work and they get tempted to conducting personal business during the company's time. So it can include making doctor's appointments, making vacational reservations and stuff like that. So those can seem offensive to the company, but what if that employee got a call from their spouse saying that one of their children is sick? Is it ethical for them to make a doctor's appointment? Well, it's best for them to consult to the HR department about those matters. So another ethical dilemma would be a lot of employees tend to take the credit of other employees' work. Now this is a situation that often happens where coworkers can get worked up. Like for example, mostly you're incorporated in a group, you have to work as a team on a project. Let's say 3 out of a 5-team group, a 5-member group actually contributed to a project, and they consulted the employer and told the employer that we should deserve all the credit for this project, but the 2 others shouldn't deserve credit for it. It's ethical for them to do something like that, and usually they're pretty much wrong for doing that because this type of situation shouldn't happen anyway. The best resolution to this situation is to basically implement all the roles of each employee to a specific task at hand. Another ethical dilemma is harassing behavior, and basically we see this a lot in workplaces. Usually there's a witness on the scene that usually sees these type of situations happen, and sometimes they don't know how to handle the situation, or they don't want to report it because they feel like their job is on the line. So it's important for staff members to implement a policy or make a policy that's going to inform employees on how to handle these type of situations so that they don't make a mistake in provoking a situation. So it's important for HR managers or employers to be able to handle certain ethical dilemmas within the workplace. It's important for business owners to understand the different types of ethical dilemmas that do happen, because these type of situations happen all the time. So one way to reduce ethical dilemmas in the workplace is by coming up with some sort of handbook that's based off the company's code of conduct, to incorporate policies into your performance management programs, so that employees can understand that they can be held accountable for their actions, and that they can be responsible for certain stuff. So also they should provide training for employees. Training is what's going to help employees know how to address the issue at hand and know how to handle ethical dilemmas. An employer should also, hire an ombudsperson in charge of, handling employees' concerns when it comes down to ethical dilemmas. Usually, some companies have like a hotline where, employees can, call and talk about, the certain, situations that happen within the workplace that makes them feel uncomfortable. Also, it would be great for an employer to research federal, state, and municipal labor and employment laws, especially if they pertain to whistleblowing. It's important that that employers are, they really think about what employment decisions they make, especially when it comes down to hiring and firing people, especially when it connects to whistleblowing, because they don't want to make the wrong employment decision. So basically, it's best for them to get legal advice from like a lawyer, somebody who understands the law, so that they're not liable for the damages under the